Now let's learn how to make the characters. There are 4 characters in total, Da Ji and Ping An. First, crochet the strokes. Then secure them. Next, crochet the edging. Finally, attach them to the corresponding positions. Please watch the demonstration. The method to make these characters is almost the same. The pattern chart here is for teaching purposes only. Please follow the actual project you have in your hands. I'll demonstrate the method using the character and as an example. First, refer to the pattern. Crochet this line. Here, we use the method of hanging the yarn and crocheting chain stitches. Start by leaving a tail of about 25 cm. Make a slip knot. Then, hook the reserved yarn tail from front to back onto the crochet hook. Yarn over. Pull through. The first stitch is complete. Continue to hook the yarn from front to back. Don't pull it too tight. Pull through. The second stitch is complete. Repeat this step. The specific number of stitches is marked on the pattern. For the sample swatch, crochet 19 stitches here. After completing, pull the yarn tail through together. Leave a 5 cm tail and cut off. Pull tight. This stroke is now complete. Move on to crochet the right side stroke. Here, you can join yarn and crochet on top of the previous stroke. Take a look. The crocheted line has a textured side. We will consider one of the braids as the right side. Pick up from the left side of the third braid from the end. This way, there are 2 strands. Join the yarn. Remember to leave a yarn tail. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Crochet the corresponding number of stitches. After completing, take a look. Both sides should align roughly. Finally, cut the yarn. This completes the 2 strokes at the top. For the 2 middle strokes, You can crochet each line separately, then sew them together and secure. Refer to the chart for the specific stitch count. The shorter line can have its tail left slightly longer at the end. The sample swatch has already been crocheted in advance. Now, I will demonstrate the method to secure the lines. The two strokes at the top are already connected, so they don't need to be secured. Next, we'll secure the two middle strokes. Thread the longer tail of the short line into a darning needle. Secure it to the middle position of the longer line. This allows for a slight curve at the top. The exact securing position can be adjusted according to your preference. When securing, pay attention to ensuring the braid texture on the right side faces upward. Try not to sew onto the braids that are designated as the right side. Aim to keep the sewn texture as neat and attractive as possible. This is the method for securing the lines. Leave the longer yarn tails for now. Hide the other short yarn tails on the wrong side. Everyone complete this step. Next, we will crochet the edging. Take out the gold thread. Crochet a round of slip stitches around the completed stitch. Here, I will demonstrate using the two middle stitches as an example. Pick up one strand of yarn next to the braid on the right side. Join the yarn. Continue picking up such strands and crocheting slip stitches. At the seam, pick up yarn in approximately the correct position and crochet. This makes the edge transitions clearer. At the corner, pick up one strand in approximately the correct position and crochet. On the other side, pick up one strand in approximately the correct position, behind the edge on the right side and crochet. If there are any weave-in marks here, pay attention to cover them. Ensure that both sides of the braid on the right side form this texture. Finally, finish off with a slip stitch. Weave in the yarn tail on the wrong side. Crochet a round of slip stitches around the top 2 stitches in the same manner. Everyone, complete it! This concludes the explanation of crocheting the character. The other characters can be crocheted using the same method. At the seams of the strokes, you can either join the yarn and crochet directly, or crochet first and then sew together and secure. For the end that needs to be sewn, make sure to leave a longer yarn tail. Both ends of this stroke for the character need to be sewn and secured. You can join the yarn and crochet from here. Leave a yarn tail at the end for securing. If you choose to crochet first and then secure, you can sew the end without a yarn tail using a separate piece of yarn. The middle horizontal stroke is handled the same way. Refer to the previous demonstration and follow the measurements provided in the chart. Complete it accordingly. Next, attach the characters to their corresponding positions. Different styles of characters vary, but they should all be glued vertically centered on the bottom part of the front piece. For the exact position, refer to the finished product. You can also make minor adjustments according to your preference. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific method for attaching. Here, I will use a small sample to demonstrate how to attach the characters. I will continue using the character as an example. After the edging is completed, the yarn has a certain shaping ability. Following the characters provided in the chart, adjust the yarn accordingly. The position in this small sample is random. The top of this particular stroke has a larger bend. Secure it with the remaining yarn. Refer to the chart for the specific shape of the bend. Weave in the ends. Once you're satisfied, apply glue on the wrong side. Apply more glue where you weave in the ends. Ensure it is securely fastened. Make minor adjustments while the glue is still wet. Remove any visible glue marks. Attach other characters to their corresponding positions using the same method. That concludes the explanation of the characters. Finally, let's learn about the strap section. It consists of the cord, the pendant, and the coin charm. The crochet technique for the cord is the same as that used for the characters. Before crocheting, leave a length of yarn 3 times longer than the desired cord length, plus a little extra. Refer to the chart for the specific cord length. You can also adjust it according to your actual needs. Everyone should complete crocheting this part. Leave a 20 centimeter tail at the end. Finally, sew it to the side of the main body. Let me demonstrate the sewing method for the cord using a small sample. Start by sewing the end with the yarn tails. Thread one of the yarn tails through a darning needle. Align the top of the cord end with the corresponding sewing position on the main body. Overlap by about 1 centimeter. Secure it in place. Go back and secure it again. Tuck all the yarn tails to the wrong side. Tie off and hide the tails. For the other end, take a separate piece of yarn to secure it. Be mindful not to twist the cord here. Finally, tie off and hide the yarn tails with the starting ones. This completes the cord. Next, let's learn how to make the hanging ornament. It consists of 3 parts: the fortune bag, the firecracker, and the sewing. The fortune bag starts with a magic ring. Crochet in spirals counterclockwise. Then continue with slip stitch and crochet in rounds. You will need to switch colors during the process. After completing it, add stuffing, and then add a drawstring. The new stitch used here is F double crochet. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crochet method. Since we are crocheting in spirals, it can be hard to distinguish the rounds. Make sure to mark the first stitch while crocheting. Therefore, before working, first, cut a strand of yarn in a different color from the fortune bag, about 20 cm long. Pull out one strand from it and set it aside for later use. Start with a magic ring. Then crochet the first round. Since we are working in spiral round, there's no need to make a turning chain at the beginning. Crochet 6 single crochets into the ring. After completing this, tighten the ring. Since we are working in spiral round, you just need to follow the stitch pattern in the chart for each round. The first round is now complete. Move on to round 2. Take the yarn that was set aside earlier and position it on the left side of the working yarn. Place it to the right of the first stitch from the previous round. Make a 2 single crochets into the same stitch, SC2 in 1, into the first stitch of the previous round. Mark the position of this stitch, as it will be the first stitch of this round. If you have a stitch marker, you can also place it in the first stitch of each round to mark the beginning. Continue crocheting. And finish the stitches to the right of the marked position. This indicates the end of the entire round. The second round is now complete. Move on to the third round. Before starting, move the marker to the back. Use this method to mark the first stitch of each subsequent round. After finishing the stitches to the right of the marked position, the third round is now complete. For rounds 4 through 14, refer to the chart to complete them. Pay attention to the start of each round and move the marker to a new position accordingly. After completing the 14th round, cut the yarn. Tuck the yarn tail to the wrong side through the left stitch. And hide it following the texture. Place the textured right side on the outside. Let's take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the first 14 rounds. You can now remove the marker. Next, we'll work on round 15. Take out the gold thread. The specific length should be referenced from the chart. Fold it in half and start crocheting. Join the yarn to the first stitch of the previous round, which is the stitch where the ending yarn tail passed through. Start with 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain. 1 chain stitch as a transition. Skip 1 stitch below. Work 1 double crochet. 1 chain stitch. Continue to skip 1 stitch. Repeat this group's pattern to finish the round. Finally, end with a slip stitch in the beginning chain. You can insert the hook from bottom to top into the 3rd chain stitch to finish crocheting. Cut the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail along the texture. Round 15 is completed. Continue with round 16. Join the yarn at the slip stitch position from the previous round. Work 4 chain stitches. Then work 1 double crochet in the left chain space. One chain stitch. And continue picking up stitches and chain spaces, working double crochets and chains respectively. Finish this round. End with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain. Round 16 is completed. Move on to round 17. Start with 4 chain stitches. Pick up the stitch and work 1 double crochet and 1 chain correspondingly. Finish this round. Pay attention not to crochet into the chain spaces. End with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain. Break the yarn. Round 17 is completed. Now move on to round 18. Join the yarn at the slip stitch position from the previous round. Pick up the yarn here just like in round 15. Make 1 beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. Then pick up the chain spaces and stitches. Work single crochets in each of them. Finish this round. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the starting stitch. Do not pull too tight. Binding off. Weave in the yarn tail. This completes round 18. Now proceed to stuffing. Firmly stuff the areas below the lace patterns. Next, crochet the drawstring. Take the corresponding length of gold thread and fold it in half. Pass the folded end through one purl. Crochet chain stitches. Refer to the chart for the exact length. After completion, leave a 20 cm tail and cut the yarn. Thread the yarn needle. Insert the needle into the hole in round 15. Try to start from the opposite side of the slip stitch marks. Pass through these holes. After completion, secure with another purl. Here, you can switch to a thin needle. Weave in the ends. Apply a small amount of glue here. Secure the yarn tail to prevent it from slipping. Pull tight the drawstring. tie it securely. And that's how you crochet a fortune bag. Next, let's learn how to make firecrackers. First, crochet the small firecrackers, then connect them together. Add tassels. Finally, attach them to the bottom of the fortune bag. Start the small firecrackers with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. After completing, embroider with a braid-like texture. The stitch technique used is a single crochet 2 stitches together, SC2 tog. Please watch the demonstration. First, crochet the small firecrackers. The crochet method from the starting chain to the second round is similar to that of the corners. The sample swatch has already been crocheted in advance. Move on to the third round. For this round, pick up the back loops only and crochet. Work single crochets into each stitch. After completing, finish with a slip stitch. Turn the right side out. This will form small horizontal lines on the surface. For the following 4th to 8th rounds, work even single crochets without increasing or decreasing. Everyone complete it. After completing, add a little stuffing. Make sure the top is firmly stuffed. Now I'll demonstrate the 9th round. First, pick up the back loops of the next 2 stitches on the left side, and work a single crochet 2 stitches together. Pay attention to the slip stitch position, don't miss this back loop. Continue picking up the back loops, and working single crochet 2 stitches together. Work all the way down to finish this round. Finally, end with a slip stitch. The 9th round is completed. Stretch the loop. Leave a 50 cm tail and cut the yarn. Now we will close the opening. Thread the yarn needle with the tail. Pass it through the front loops of the stitches in the last round, one by one. Pull tight. Go from the middle to the starting point. Pull the closing position to the inside. Then pass it back through. The ends should create an inward dent. Adjust the shape. Then, a little beside the closing point, pick up one loop and draw the yarn through. Foundation chain 4 stitches. Then on the other side, pick up at approximately the same position, and join with a slip stitch. Cut the yarn. This forms a small loop at the top. Hide the yarn tail inside. Next, take out the gold thread. Thread it into a sewing needle at the stitch positions of the 3rd round and the 7th round. Embroider a round of braid-like texture separately. First, insert the hook into the stitch, then come out at the next stitch position, leaving a little yarn tail. Continue to weave back to the exit point. Then come out at the next stitch position, wrap the yarn around the hook once, and pull it through. Adjust properly. Continue to weave back from the previous exit point. Then come out at the next position. Yarn over, and pull it through. Adjust a little. Repeat this process to continue embroidering. After completion, fasten off underneath the starting braid. And adjust properly. Thread the yarn tail through the fabric a few times to secure it. Embroider another section using the same method. Everyone complete this part. That concludes the explanation of making the small firecracker. Next, we will assemble it. Take out the corresponding yarn and tassel. Insert the tassel and join the yarn. If it's difficult to insert here, you can use a sewing needle to help. Form a loop. Then make 2 chain stitches. You can bring the yarn tail through together. Next, take out 1 small firecracker. Release the loop. Insert into the chain space at the top of the small firecracker. Pull the loop through. Continue with 3 to 4 chain stitches. This connects 1 small firecracker. Proceed to connect the next small firecracker. Use the same method as before. The number of chain stitches between firecrackers is the same. You can adjust according to your preference. Continue with the same method to connect the remaining firecrackers. The sample here only connects 2 firecrackers. After completing the connection of the last small firecracker, make 1 chain stitch. Leave a 15 cm yarn tail, and break the yarn. Thread the yarn tail through a sewing needle. Sew it onto the bottom of the fortune bag. Hide the yarn tail inside. Make sure to hide the starting yarn tail as well. This completes the assembly of the firecrackers. Finally, attach the fortune bag to the cord. Use the yarn from crocheting the cord to sew it on. The end where the fortune bag is sewn will be the front when worn. Everyone should determine which end to sew based on their own wearing habits. Decide which end to sew it to. Position it about 20 cm away from the bag. With the firecrackers facing downwards, sew along the seam of slip stitches to secure it. This is the back side of where the knot is made. First, weave in the ends. Ensure it is secure. Then sew it to the cord. Pick up the wrong side threads for sewing. Try to make the stitches as inconspicuous as possible. You can also sew a bit above the drawstring. After sewing, tie off and weave in the yarn tail. This completes the pendant. Finally, attach and secure the coin. There are 2 strings in total. Attach one string to this side of the fortune bag, about 2 cm away from where it's sewn to the cord. Secure the other string to the other end of the cord, approximately 17 cm from the seam. You can adjust the exact positions according to your preference. For the following demonstration, I'll use the string closer to the front as an example. I will demonstrate the sewing method. Take a piece of corresponding yarn, thread it into the needle. First, sew a few stitches on the cord to secure the thread. Once it's securely fastened, come out from the corresponding position. This should be on the right side of the braid-like texture. Place a copper coin above the cord, with the character side facing up. Insert the needle through the square hole. Then bring it back down. Continue threading it through. Transitioning to the top of the square hole. Continue by taking out another copper coin. Place it below the previous one. Make sure the character side is facing up for all coins. Secure the overlapping part twice. Continue carrying the yarn across. Add another coin and continue securing it. Follow this method to secure a total of 5 coins. Finally, weave in the yarn within the cord. This will securely fasten the string of coins. Secure the other string in the same way. Everyone can now complete it. This completes the strap. Up to this point, the entire bag has been explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thanks for watching. See you in the next episode.